Welcome back to a new episode of NH Unscripted, where the beat goes on, baby. I am your Sonny Bono-like host, Ray Dudley. We are coming to you from the Taj Mahal-like digs of the WKXL studios in Concord. My God, it's cavernous in here. You know the drill. I got my Nehru jacket on, my bell-bottom pants, my platform shoes. Kick back on those water beds, light that incense, fire up the lava lamps, because we got another great show for you today. We are going to be trucking today, I'm telling you. Get out those transistor radios. Us poor kids got the 8 transistor ones. The rich kids got the 16, but hey, you know, no envy here. You'll find us at 1450 AM, 103.9 FM in Concord, 101.9 FM for the beautiful souls in Manchester. And yes, we have a URL, duh, because we're cool. NHTalkRadio.com is our URL, and I'll tell you what goes on out there a little bit more later on in the program. I need to thank my sponsor, the law offices of the attorneys of Shaheen and Gordon. We appreciate all that they do here to help us out and sponsor this program. ShaheenGordon.com is their URL. Get out your pencils. Come on now. Put it on your fridge. Keep it with your legal papers. ShaheenGordon.com. Phone number 603-614-5560. Let's say it together. Why? Because everyone should know a good lawyer. Oh, my God. Was there ever a truer statement? You know, you walk this earth long enough, either you or someone you know is going to need a good lawyer. I'm not talking, you know, Better Call Saul kind of stuff here. We're talking good lawyers. All right. ShaheenGordon.com. They do it all. You know, they come in here every Friday, the last Friday of every month, just to talk about what they do and their specialties. It's been an absolute joy to hear what they do over there. ShaheenGordon.com, 603-614-5560. Well, in the studio today is Paul Lussier. Good morning, sir.
Good morning.
How are you?
I'm fine. How are you, Ray?
I appreciate you being here today. I'm good, thank you.
Thanks for having me. I'm glad someone wanted to talk to me.
What? He sounds like a lonely soul. I wanted to have you in for a couple of reasons. You're kind of a double threat here. I was out at your website, and one of the things I saw, so for folks who don't know, you do acting, both commercial and theater, and you have a musical gig, correct?
Yes. Yeah,
Okay.
That's correct.
I don't know if you dance. That would make you a triple threat. Don't even want to go there right now, but
Okay. You don't want to see that.
All right, that's what I was hoping you'd say. But you have a great demo reel out at your website.
Oh, thank you.
Dude, you have a great sense of humor, and it comes across really, really well. What is your URL again for your website?
It is www.paul-lussier.com.
All right, go out there, folks. Spend the time. It's like a 3-minute demo reel. It's worth it. It's hysterical. There are one or two bits that were serious, but you have great comedic timing.
Was it just the commercial reel you watched, or was it I have a film reel too?
Oh, no, just commercial. I didn't know you had a film one.
Oh, yeah, I've done some films too.
Yeah, okay, let's talk about it. What?
I
had it down somewhere, but go ahead.
I mean, we could. I guess I started doing the after I did theater first.
Yep.
And kind of got the acting bug, and then I started getting into doing industrial videos and commercials and all that, and then I started getting into doing films. Like a lot of people start out with as an extra in sometimes start in an extra in an independent film or an extra in a major Hollywood type film that they film in Boston. I've been in many of those. And then, you start seeking out other roles, maybe speaking roles in independent films to leading roles in independent films. And eventually some people move on to speaking roles in the, major motion pictures, which I haven't had one yet.
That's all right. That's all right. I want to peel this back a little bit because I'm fascinated by how people get attached to certain things. Now, so When did you get the bug for acting? Was it later in life, or did you get it earlier?
Like as a kid, it was something like I always kind of thought, oh, that'd be kind of fun. I always wanted to do it. Never really had the courage or the confidence to do it. And there were like a couple of things that led me that way. One of them was I went to see one of my friends who had gotten into acting in a play of 12 Angry Men. And I'm like, wow, like that is just so cool. Like,
how old were you at that time? Were you young?
Well into my 30s.
Okay,
now.
okay.
Well, and the other one was my daughter got into. She was like a performer from the time she was born. She was, singing before school with a hairbrush, singing in front of the mirror when she's like, on the way to kindergarten. And it's just kind of funny. I have some of these videos, like, she'd be getting ready for school, and we were like, come on, you're going to be late. And she's just singing in the bathroom, the door shut. And like sometimes I'd peek under the door and I could see her dancing, like in the bathroom by herself. And I run and go get the video camera. I'm like, I got to get this. This is hilarious.
Me.
So I have a lot of videos of the outside of the bathroom door, just with the audio of her. But anyway, she got into that kind of stuff early. Like, I think the first play she did, she was 4. She was like a baby angel in a play. And so, several years went by of me taking her to rehearsals and my wife and, us watching her grow as a little child actor. And I was like, I really want to do that. I want to try this. And at the same time, it was kind of around the same time when I saw my friend, and I'm like, I just have to try it. Like, I don't know how I'm going to be. And so I auditioned with my daughter for the musical Oliver. And she was like the flower cellar girl. And I got the role of Bill Sykes.
Nice role.
So my first, yeah, that wasn't the one I was going for, but I was.
Would you want Fagin?
No, because I'm not the agile dancer type. I'm more of the, the big. What's the big guy's name? I can't even think of it.
Andrew, you'd know that. He'll come up with it.
The Beadle with a D. I can't. It's the guy who sings "Boy for Sale." The big role. Anyway, it's not. I kind of wanted that. Mr. Bumble, is that his name? No
idea.
Might be Mr. Bumble. I think that's who.
Oh,
you're
it is
thinking
Bumble.
of.
Yeah, it is. I wanted to say that at first, but I'm like, that doesn't sound.
I think that's correct.
And there was our in-house Google.
So I got the role of Bill Sykes, and I just completely embraced that. And it was community theater, and the various levels of experience, but not a lot. So I felt kind of comfortable there. And I had a lot of people that thought that I had been doing this for a long time. And I said, well, this is my first play. And like, are you kidding me? I'm like, no. And I'm like, well, people think I'm good.
That speaks volumes.
And then what really kind of sealed the deal on the acting bug biting was at the very end of this play, everybody comes after Bill Sykes because he's the villain. And Bill Sykes gets shot by one of the London bobbies. And I end up, going down. I think I had papers in my hand or something. I don't know if or it was money or whatever. But I remember I went down on the floor, and I'm supposed to be dead, and the papers are just floating. The audience now can't see my hand gestures, but imagine me waving my hands like papers just drifting down on top of me as I'm lying on the stage. And now I'm not looking at the audience. I'm looking at the top of the theater, with all the ropes and everything, and this the scaffolding, and I'm like, this is so cool. I had the chills, and then the guy who played Fagin was in the trap door of the stage, but I had accidentally fallen on it. He's supposed to come out at the end so we could sing, da da da, and he's like wander off into the distance as the villain who got away. So I accidentally fell on the trap door, and he's trying to get out, and he pushes the door, and I, as the dead body, just rolls right off the door as he comes up. And I'm like, oh my God! I had complete chills, and I'm like, this is for me. So I started doing community theater, and from there it went to professional theater, and then like I said,
I want to
films.
peel in on that. So hang on a second. Hang on. You are listening to NH Unscripted. Yeah, these are the tears of a clown here. I'm your Smokey Robinson-like host, Ray Dudley. We are coming to you from the Twilight Zone-like digs of the WKXL studios in Concord. 1450 AM, 103.9 FM. That's Concord on your transistor radios. 101.9 FM for the beautiful souls of Manchester. Paul Lussier is in the house. We will be right back. Welcome back to NH Unscripted, where we fought the law and the law won. Yeah, baby. I'm your Bobby Fuller-like host, Ray Dudley. Yeah, coming to you from the YMCA-like conditions of the WKXL studios in Concord. My God, I can smell the chlorine from the pool all the way over here. 1450 AM, 103.9 FM on your Sony Walkmans. Who cares? 101.9 FM for you beautiful souls in Manchester. NHTalkRadio.com is our URL. Paul Lussier's in the house. I have a lot of questions for him. A lot. We're not going to get through it ever. This happens all the time. Paul, so you go from community theater. How did you make the leap to even doing background work? Did you have to get an agent and all that?
You don't have to get an agent, especially for background work. I'd say probably the biggest casting company in Boston was Boston Casting. Right. And you can go on their website. You can, sign up for an account, and they have paid accounts and they have free accounts.
Yeah,
so you don't even need to, get a subscription. If you did, then you can upload your resume and 20 pictures or whatever. But for a free account, I think you're allowed 2 photos, and your name, your stats, and then they will send you casting notices. Seeking background actors for 20 to 30 something, white female or whatever it is.
Yep.
And you're like, man, I'll go. You either sign up. So
you don't go for the 20-year-old white females, do you?
No,
okay.
no. Now I'm, actually, I was getting roles, elderly man, like going back like 20 years ago, and I'm like, really? And I think I might have even been still in my 40s or just early 50s, and I'm getting elderly man, and I'm like, this is what elderly is now.
Dang.
I do feel it, but no. So you don't really need to do that background work. You don't really need an agent. If you don't even really need one for featured roles. However, it is much easier because people reach out to the agents for the bigger jobs.
Yeah.
Whether it's the commercials or whether it's for a film or something. Sometimes you're on a film set as an extra and you just have the right look, and an assistant director will come up and say, we need someone to say this line, thanks for the coffee or whatever it is.
Yeah.
One line. And then they're going to be like, okay, yeah, now you got a credit in the movie.
Yeah.
You've got to join SAG.
Yeah. Or you get a waiver for something.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Right.
So or if you're a featured extra and there aren't that many SAG people, this is, I don't know what the percentage is,
right.
But sometimes you get a waiver and they make you SAG for day.
Yeah.
And if you get 3 waivers, you're eligible to join SAG. If you get 4, you're a must join the next job you get, which is where I'm at right now. I have not joined, and I've been eligible to join for probably 15 years.
Oh, my God.
20 years maybe.
Yeah.
I think the movie that made me eligible was The Heat with Sandra Bullock and Melissa McCarthy. Wow. So I was a featured extra in that, and it was an FBI security guy. So it was just myself, another guy in the lobby of the FBI building, and Sandra Bullock came in, flashed her badge to us, and walked by. So it was just the three of us in that scene. And that was the one that kind of made me like, now you're a must join. And I'm like, okay, I'm still not going to join because I still want to do, there are other jobs, especially in Boston. There's a lot of like a lot of the commercials that are out there. They don't use union people, and I
Not anymore.
I like working.
Yeah. I got to find out. I got to talk to the people at Slate or something because, I'm watching Reacher the past few weeks, and it's all being filmed in Maine. Mm-hmm. Do you think I got any kind of a notice to play background, like just old man walking across the street kind of thing? No, I never got a notice. So I got to find out what's going on there. I would have been happy to go up there, just be old man sitting in a restaurant, right?
Yeah.
Dang. But those are the great kind of things. I mean, I was really surprised that even filmed in Maine.
You see a lot of, a lot of how these things work. So, I mean, I've done my share of doing that, and been in scenes with James Caan, and like so many different
Isn't
people.
It fascinating?
A couple of Adam Sandler movies, and Will Forte stepped on my foot. He's like, "Excuse me, sir," And so it's kind of cool interacting with all these people, but there's also a line because you're it's very professional, and you're not their buddies, and you don't talk to them. You do your job.
Yeah. I was. We did Castle Rock, and we did. Daddy's Home too, over down in Lawrence, the cinema showcase cinemas down there, and it was that way. You're on the set. You don't talk to them unless they talk to you first.
Right.
Don't even approach them. Don't try any of that stuff. It was very segmented. Very segmented. So, do you do both? You do music and you do this acting gig. Mm-hmm. So, do you have a preference over one or the other?
No, I mean, I think if I could have been like a full-time actor, I probably would have done that. I like the idea of, forming a character and, embodying that personality, whatever that character is supposed to be. I feel it's a kind of a creative process. Yeah. Where with the music, I mean, I have written a lot of my own songs, but I usually don't play them because, where I'm getting hired, play Brown Eyed Girl. And I'm like, do I have to? So it's like, I'm pleasing audiences, which is gratifying, but it's not as creative as it would be if I were to say, like play Bill Sykes, I mean, back then I watched the movie Oliver and I was like, I'm just going to be like him.
Yeah.
But, nowadays, if I were to get a role, I'd be like, I'm going to make this my own. I want to be a different, kind of villain. So I think I would have done that or would do that if that was like a steady job, but it's not because you look at your type, your look, and what are they looking for, and it's not it's so few and far between. So the music has really taken off. And, the solo thing that I'm doing, when I was in a band, it was harder to get jobs in a band. And they're also not regular, at least, if you're in a wedding band, you're booked for like, a year and a half, whatever. But, what I was doing, the last band I was in was a Beatles tribute band. And I was in that band for, 5 years in the 90s. I left for 13 years. I took a break and then came back.
For music in general?
No.
Okay,
No, I did other
tribute.
bands.
Okay.
I did a new wave band. I did a generic classic rock band, but got back in the Beatles band for another 8 years. And then just before COVID, we kind of just dissolved. But I had already started doing the solo thing. And, the idea was to just do a couple a month and just to keep active in music. And I ended up, that thing has snowballed to 12 a month in the summer. And, it's kind of becoming a full-time job. So
for you.
the music's really taken my time, and the acting stuff is there when I can get it. But sometimes I can't take act like. We're seeking someone for, this role of warehouse manager in this, commercial or whatever. And these are the 2 dates you have to be available.
Can you be there tomorrow?
And then I look and I'm like, well, I have one date, but I don't have the other one because I have a gig. Oh, well, you need to be available for 2. And then I'm like, okay, well, I guess don't put me in. So.
Oh, that's heartbreaking.
No, so that,
Yeah, it's heartbreaking.
There's only so much time that you.
I know. It's funny. People think that you get into a commercial or something, or on a set, and you're getting residuals and all this kinds of stuff. But they've stopped a lot of that. When we were doing Castle Rock, there was some talk between the non-union people and some of the union people, and the non-union are like, should we join the union and all this? And the people in the union were very honest and said, well, you know what? Here's what happened. We just got a new contract. They upped our money, but they cut the percentage of the number of union people and went to non-union people. All right. We got to put a pin in it right there. Son of a gun. Just when I was on a roll. You want to listen to NH Unscripted? Can you hear the rhythm of the fall of rain? Can you? I am your Cascades-like host, Ray Dudley. We are coming to you from the Gong Show-like digs of the WKXL studios in Concord. NHTalkRadio.com is our URL. Yeah, break out your Sony Walkmans. Oh, for goodness sake. I kept talking to Paul Lussier. We'll be right back. I got a lot more questions. Welcome back to NH Unscripted, you lucky listeners. Yeah, I ain't too proud to beg. I'm your Temptations-like host, Ray Dudley. We are coming to you from the Hollywood Squares-like digs of the WKXL studios in Concord. I love sitting in the center square. That's the old Paul Lynn one for you old folks. 1450 AM, 103.9 FM in Concord, 101.9 FM for the beautiful souls in Manchester. Paul Lussier and I are chatting about, everything. I started talking about, when last we met, about how I had spoken with some union people and non-union people. They were having this conversation about should they join, should they not join. And I was making the point that, they got more money in their latest contract, the union people, but the trade-off was there were going to be less number of union jobs available. And the other thing that they were talking about was someone in the crowd of the union people, they did a commercial for, I believe it was the Citgo, the gas over the Fenway Park? Okay.
Yep.
They did a commercial for someone like that, and they were getting royalties at that time for the rest of their lives. They've stopped all that. You don't get unless you're Flo from, or you land something like that. You just don't get those royalties anymore. They don't do it because you're non-union. They can hire you for less money, and there's no royalties involved, right?
That's correct.
You concur with that.
Well, I don't know how the union works. What I do know is that the non-union jobs, it's just there's a certain term that you're going to know up front, a usage term, whether it's a year, 2 years, web only or web and broadcast or regional or whatever it is, and whatever that term is, that's what you get, and you get a flat fee for that.
Flat fee, yes.
When they go over, and I've had people say, "Oh, I just saw you on this," and then I'll call my agent. I have a couple agents, but in this one case. Model Club in Boston, and I said, "Hey, they're showing this thing, and let me call them and I'll see." And I have NEMG up here in Manchester, and same kind of thing. Like people are telling me that they're airing this again, but that was supposed to be done like 2 years ago. I'm like, okay, let me work on it, and they do. The agents do represent you well and get you the money that's owed, but. That's the only time you get any extra money is if they reuse something that they've already, extended. But I don't know what were we going to say about
talking
the
about
SAG
SAG,
thing?
just whether or not you should join or not.
Yeah.
Because people think it's a great thing, but you end up paying dues every year now, right? And they're going to take a cut out of every job you get, assuming
Right.
you get jobs.
Right.
But now there's less of them.
That's kind of the thing. I mean, I don't have that many opportunities, and I, if I were to join SAG, maybe I would, could be the next Flo. Who knows? But that's so hard to get one of those things.
No kidding. That's hitting the lottery. Right? The odds of that are just brutal.
I'm currently in 2 commercials that are airing. One is a Big Y supermarket commercial. Am I supposed to say brand names here?
Yeah.
Does that matter?
Don't bother me.
So there aren't any up here in New Hampshire. Anyhow, they're down in Mass. But I'm getting like a lot of my friends from Mass are going, hey, were you a butcher and a big... I'm like, yeah, that was me. They're like, great job. And like, oh, yeah, you must be making a ton of money. I'm like, nope.
Yeah.
Not at all.
Yeah.
And then and the other one's on Nesson, and it was a thing we did last year for Granite City Electric. And it's the third of 3 that we did with myself and this other guy as a kind of a recurring role. And since baseball just started again, I didn't know they were going to use it again because they ran it all last year. But now I'm getting people, hey Fred, I just saw you, and I'm like, yeah, well, I guess they're showing that again. So yeah, and that's the same question. It's like, they think I'm making a ton of money every time they see it on TV. It's like, no, I'm getting a lot of exposure, which is good or bad.
Yeah, my wife and I watch a show at night. I won't mention at this point, but a friend of mine, his commercial pops up probably at least twice in an hour. And I keep thinking, dang it, if he could have gotten royalty, which they don't, but if he could have gotten royalty, he'd be freaking rich.
Yeah.
It twice an hour, every day. It plays every day. Every day, Paul. Right.
And I'm not opposed to joining the union, and I've made that clear to every agent and every casting company that I can. I am willing to join as soon as I have to, like as in you give me one line in a major film, I'll give you my money. But until then, it's not worth it to go work as an extra for me to make double what I would make non-union. So I go from $8 an hour to $16 an hour to sit around in a tent for 14 hours. I've done it enough.
And again, you're losing a percentage, right? They're going to take a percent. You got to pay your dues and all that stuff.
Yeah, but there's all these other incentives. I saw some guy arguing about they asked him to put on a different tie, and he was arguing that's a costume change, and now I get and I'm like, really?
Oh man,
you're just gonna? I understand that they're going to nickel and dime him because they're getting it in reverse, like all the dues and fees and all that. So they're like, well, I'm going to take advantage of every single thing I can get from you now.
Yeah.
But I don't want to do that.
I was on a set for something, and I think it was a pilot for a show that didn't air. But we were about to do a scene, and one of the assistant director people came in and said, okay, we're changing something that's going to happen here, and so we have to bump you. We're going to give you all waivers because of what's about to happen. Mm-hmm. And that was really nice. I mean, nobody was asking for it, but it was really nice of them to say, okay, we just give you a heads up. It was nothing like, they're going to light you on fire or anything, but it was really pretty nice. And nobody was complaining. Nobody. Right. We're all like, yeah, I'll take the waiver. Yeah, it gives me one step closer. But yeah. Yep. I have 2 waivers. I'm not even close. So you've been playing instruments for a long time, right? You had a band when you were younger. Do you?
Yeah, I had a band. I want to say I started playing guitar when I was 15. Got in a couple bands in high school. Played in the variety show, all that. And then when I got out of high school, we had an original band. We played in all the clubs in Boston, and that broke up, and it's like, life moves on, and later in life I had the urge and the time to get back in bands. So I've been in a couple of different bands, in recent, like maybe since I was in my 30s. So going back like 30 years or so, I've been playing in bands, and then I started while I was in the last band, which was a Beatles tribute band called Help. halfway through my second term with them, I began doing the solo thing, and I found that is just, it's, I guess, more lucrative, but it's just more work as a solo acoustic guy, or, a piano player, singer, or whatever. But the restaurants and pubs right now, and I'm seeing even more this spring popping up. Oh, there's a new place, and they want someone 7 days a week, and it's like, I don't have any more time.
They ask that much, 7 days a week. I would see a weekend, but my God.
Sometimes there are places like up around the Lakes region. They want somebody in the pub. They want someone there every night because it's an attraction. It's like, well, we could go here and get a burger. We can go here and get a burger and listen to this guy sing.
Yeah.
So, the restaurants. I think it's smart. They make more money, for what they pay, which is okay, for a 3-hour gig. It's the money's good enough for that, but they make that up and then some with the amount of people they bring in.
Yeah, no kidding.
Alcohol, food, whatever. I mean, they're making a lot of money, so they can afford to pay the musicians. So it works out for everybody.
Yeah. So when you started playing, you're not as old as I am, so I'm guessing what kind of music? Let me start there. I was going to get into the next block, but since we're there,
okay.
What's your preference for music to play?
I really like classic rock, but I've learned from talking to some younger people that classic rock is different than dad rock, which apparently is a new term. So different decades. Apparently, like classic rock is Led Zeppelin, and dad rock is whatever.
Dang.
Something
Are
from
we
the 80s.
Dating ourselves there? What in the world?
Yeah, to me, that's the newest stuff is from the 90s, but to them, that's oldies. If you talk to a younger kid.
We can't let them set that agenda like that.
So I play everything from the 60s to the present day. I do a lot of pop, so I do a lot of songs that sound well with an acoustic guitar, but I have a harmonizer and I have some looper pedals, so I can make it sound like a real band, a full band if I want to, or I can just do the solo Jim Croce thing.
Oh man, all right, hang on. Yeah, now we're getting into the gold. Yeah, you are listening to NH Unscripted. Maybe here comes that rainy day feeling again. Maybe not. I'm your Fortunes Like host, Ray Dudley. We are coming to you from the not so overly ostentatious digs of the WKXL studios in Concord. 1450 AM, 103.9 FM on your Sony Walkmans or your transistor radios. 101.9 FM for the beautiful souls in Manchester. One more block to go. How am I going to get it all in? We'll be right back. Welcome back to NH Unscripted, where kicks just keep getting harder to find. Yeah, I'm your Paul Revere and the Raiders Like host, Ray Dudley. We are coming to you in the spa-like conditions of the WKXL studios in Concord. Yeah, massage that a little bit lower. Okay, 1450 AM, 103.9 FM, 101.9 FM for the beautiful souls in Manchester, and nhtalkradio.com is where all the cool kids are hanging out. Listen, you can go out there. There's a button you can press out there. Actually, click. I know you can't press it. Click it. And you can listen to this show live. Comes to you every Wednesday and Friday morning, 9 a.m. Or you can go out there. There's archives of, I understand there's other programs that take place here. I kind of thought I was the only person in the world recording from this studio. But there are other things going. So you wake up 2, 3 in the morning, get you a little warm glass of milk, need a friend, go out there and check the archives. nhtalkradio.com. Paul Lussier's in the house, and we are talking business, baby. Paul, I want to ask you about, would you recommend young people like going out on their own to do something like you're doing. You're busy. You are busy.
Yeah.
Your calendar is full. Oh, and before we go too far, please give us your URL, your website one more time.
Yep, it's www.paul-lussier, lussier.com.
And you have some dates coming up. You have anything on your? You have a.
I have on my website. I have a. It says up on the front page. It says where I'll be. If you click that, you get my schedule from now until September. I mean, I have one in Townsend, Mass, coming up next Sunday, and then I have one in Hair of the Dog in Derry on Thursday. And I can't remember all of them, but because I write them down, and I don't remember all the dates. I have 3 calendars going at home to try to keep. So, my wife knows where I'm going to be, and one's on the computer as a reminder. And I've just, and I've never forgotten about a date, or I have never double booked myself. So I'm very careful about being where I'm supposed to be.
So let's say somebody wanted to do what you're doing. Mm-hmm. It looks. I'm going to say looks glamorous, but that's maybe too beautiful a word for. But it looks like something they may want to do. But they forget there's a business side to this, right?
Yeah.
So you go out, you play your gigs, but you book your own gigs?
I book my own gigs. I have a couple of different agents, just like I do with the acting. I have a couple of different music agents that book, not exclusively for me. They book rooms, and they have people that are on their roster, and they put them in the rooms that have hired them or agreed to let them fill their musical calendar, as opposed to some of the other places, restaurants, pubs, they want to do it themselves. So they book their own people. They don't use an agent. So, if I want to play at a certain place, like if I really wanted to, I would be like, whoever books that, can you get me in there?
Yeah.
But at this point, I'm not even like pursuing anything else because there's just so much.
Yeah.
But yeah, so it's a little bit of everything. In whether I get contacted through, sometimes people see my Facebook page, and they're like, "Oh, we're having a wedding. Can you do it this date?" And I'm like, "No, I can't do it this date. I'm booked that date." Or an agent will send me an email and say, "Give me all your open dates from May through September," and then you either do that. And they write you into their calendar, and you write it in yours if you booked.
Hopefully, yes.
Or I do it on my own. Like, a lot of it is making contacts, meeting people, and I've done my share of driving around, knocking on doors, handing out business cards. So there's a lot of that, but
So let's get 2 things I want to ask you. Before the show ends. Number 1, what is your favorite kind of playlist when you go in?
I tailor my sets to the venue and the people.
Oh, you do?
So
okay.
Yeah, I do. I don't have a set amount of music. I like I said, I play everything from the 50s through the present, but I will do some reggae. I'll do some country, and then, a lot more people want to hear country, so I'm trying to learn more country songs. Yeah. And a lot of people want to hear the same songs that everybody else plays, which is I really try to get away from that because I try to do something different. But there are songs that everybody wants to hear, and every acoustic guy plays it.
Yeah.
So I know them. They're like, they're in the arsenal, but it's not like I want to play them all the time.
You mentioned like Jim Croce,
Yeah. But I want to do.
Do you have a preference yourself?
Oh, yeah.
No, yourself. Do you like, I hope I get to play these songs?
Well, the thing is, I can do whatever I want.
Yeah.
So when I want to play certain songs, I put them in there. And if people don't like them, they can, continue their conversations, and then they hear the song that, they want to hear, and it's like, oh, that was great, So it's like, well, that's my whole. What I try to do is give a little bit of something for everybody. But if I'm in a particularly younger crowd or a particularly older crowd, then I'm not going to play anything. That current. I know you want to hear my favorite.
No, that's
I like
okay.
70s. I like 70s, 80s. I like 60s, and I will play anything from like harder, like Led Zeppelin or you know.
So how do you
know,
accomplish all that
matter.
as one person? How does that happen?
Well, I have a harmonizer, and that when I hear a song on the radio,
Yeah.
I'm like, this would be a good one. I don't hear a lot of people doing this. I can hear, you know, there's like 3-part harmony in the background, and the main instruments and acoustic guitar. I'm like, this will be perfect for me. I'm going to learn it, even if it's not like one of my favorite songs. I'm like, this would work with what I have. So I try to work with.
I mean, you're doing like Stairway to Heaven, are you? I mean, what the heck?
No, I did. I actually have a medley that ends with the Stairway to Heaven riff. It starts out with "Babe, I'm Gonna Leave You," with that riff from Zeppelin, and I blend in other songs that are within that those same chords. So it goes.
Take notes, young people. Take notes.
Babe, I'm gonna leave you, while my guitar gently weeps. Chicago, 25 or 6 to 4. It starts with that.
Chicago.
Then it goes into the Beatles song, and then the Grassroots. She's got something that moves my soul. Temptation Eyes, and then it goes into a Green Day song that they all fit, and I do this medley, and then I end on just the main riff to Stairway to Heaven, and then everybody claps. They're like, "Wow, that was so cool," you know. So I throw in.
You go, "Yes, I know, it's cool."
I do a lot of mashups and medleys, and sometimes I hear a song that sounds like another song. For example, the Hollies, "The Air That You Breathe," and "Creep" from Radiohead. Pretty much the same chord structure except different keys, but I just make them the same key, and I play that all together.
Wow. Do you have a preference on venues? I mean, do you like, a wedding? No, please. Or do you prefer like a pub or some kind of an outside venue? Or?
I prefer one where people are paying attention and, you know, actively listening, as opposed to, you know, I'd rather play for 7 people out on the back deck of a golf course and have those people say, "Oh, who did that song? Do you know anything by this guy?" I would rather do that than play for 100 people that are just having their dinner.
Yeah, the margaritas being made in the background.
Going up to the manager going, "He's too loud." You know, like the amount of people doesn't matter. I feel like I'm there to entertain them. And if they're not being entertained, and if I'm just wallpaper or background music, I'd rather spend my time doing something else.
That's an excellent insight about entertaining, not just wanting to be radio static in the background.
Right.
So do you think that comes from your acting, or you just – because some people just play because they love to play, and they don't care if anybody's listening or not. You know, they're just going to riff away and, you know, I don't want to – anyway, so they'll just get carried away. They don't really give a rip. So that love, though, that to entertain, that's a whole different level.
That's my job, and whether I'm on the stage or whether I'm in a corner in a pub singing, you know, I feel like I'm there to entertain. And if someone wants to hire me to be background music, you know, sometimes I do it, but it's not even really about the money, you know. And I've heard other musicians say, "Oh, it's a paid practice," you know, or it's a paycheck, whatever. Yeah, it is. But there are also times like I should say when I have to wrap it up. Right?
We do.
Oh my God!
Why don't you get? I know it happens all the time.
I know. Now I can't. I don't even know how to wrap this up.
Give us your website one more time.
www.paullussier-com. No, paul-lussier.com.
You've been listening to NH Unscripted. Ain't no mountain high enough, baby. I'm your Marvin Gaye-like host, Ray Dudley, coming to you from the Gong Show-like digs of the WKXL studios. We're all in a fluster here. 1450 AM, 103.9 FM, Concord, 101.9 FM in Manchester. Paul Lussier. Thank you, my friend.
Thank you.
He's a guppy going.